Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jamal _Haki, and today we're back with another reaction video for you guys. Listen to me. Today we about to just go ahead and jump straight into it. It's about like a 15-minute long video. We ain't got no time to waste. I know what y'all came here to see. So we got the 12 most incredible finds that scientists still can't explain. Now, I'm no scientist. Maybe I can explain it, but we're gonna assume that I can't.
No.
Because if they can't do it, what make you think I can, man? So without further ado, let's get it.
We love a good mystery. As fascinating as it is when an archaeologist pulls something out of the ground and is immediately able to tell us all about what it is and what it says about the people who came before us.
Okay.
We are much more excited when they come across something they can't explain. Even with all our current technology, the amount of information we're missing about our ancestors and the way they lived is startling.
Okay.
Perhaps we'd understand them a little better if we correctly understood the purpose of the strange artifacts
Exactly.
in this video.
We gotta get to the secrets and the truth of everything, you feel me?
Our first mysterious artifact doesn't come from just one place in Europe, but from all over the continent.
And
Europe? Scientists can't agree on whether they occur naturally or whether human hands fashioned them.
Alright, let's figure it
Between
out.
700 BCE and 300
Oh,
BCE,
what's that?
a series of stone-walled forts were built in Europe on hilltops. That alone isn't unusual, but what does make them unusual is the fact that there are parts of those walls that have fused together into glass.
What?
Even now, so many years later, the remnants of air bubbles can be seen inside the glass.
Oh, man.
Proving that the rock was once subjected to incredibly high temperatures. Experts refer to the phenomenon as the vitrified fortresses of Europe.
Hey,
Of all the
that's
countries
crazy.
within Europe, Scotland is the
That's
place
an active
where
guy
most
right
examples
there.
can be found. John Williams was the first researcher to identify them back in 1777. But in the 250 years since, nobody has been able to shed any light on how this process could have happened.
I can.
The kind of extreme
It's God.
sustained heat that would be needed to vitrify the rock on purpose shouldn't have been achievable by the people of the era.
Because it's achievable
Deep in the
by somebody with
Mountains,
superpowers.
you'll find a getaway that may not actually be a getaway. The majority of geologists insist that this door-shaped object is a natural formation that happens to look like a gateway.
That's
But there are plenty
fire.
of people who say that the smooth edges and contours mean that it must have been built deliberately.
I know.
Unsurprisingly, a lot of legends and rumors have sprung up around the mysterious structure. To the people who believe in the myths, this is Ehrlich's Gate. That has
Ehrlich's.
caught on so strongly that even people who don't believe the tale use it to refer to the rock formation. The legend says that Ehrlich was a dwarf who ruled the lower world, and he used this
That's Lord of the
gateway
Rings.
as a portal between the lower world and the world that we all occupy. He didn't make the journey just for his own amusement. He would enter our world to harvest human souls during the night, and then take them back to his kingdom before morning arrived.
What?
The story is more than a little fanciful, so perhaps it is just a strange natural rock formation after all.
I figured it out. I know what it is. See, what is it? It was a C.S. Lewis. See, whoever wrote the Narnia books, they got it all wrong. Or they got it all right. They just was throwing people off. See, people wasn't going in closets to get to this other alternate universe, this other dimension, this other area. They was going through that rock right there. See, that's what Harry Potter tried to do too. But instead of using this rock, they use a freaking wall in a train station. I knew it. I discovered it.
There's a lot that we don't know about the Mexico of pre-Columbian times. But quite high on the list of mysteries is how and why the Mesoamerican Indians chose to make so many complicated structures out of obsidian. Obsidian is a form of volcanic glass that's exceptionally difficult to make sculptures out of without breaking the material, even by modern standards. But apparently, our distant Mexican ancestors had no qualms or difficulties about
They got
building such fragile rock.
hands.
Some of the structures they made defy explanation.
That's
This ornate
crazy.
monkey sculpture is easy enough to understand, but what did they mean by sculpting something that so closely resembles a compact disc? And what are these cylindrical items if they're not spools? similar to the type of device you'd find in a modern sewing machine.
Okay.
These ancient artifacts were made without the use of any power tools or...
What was that, a GameCube CD?
Both of which would be required as an absolute minimum to achieve this type of precision today. The ancient Mexican art of obsidian sculpture is a total mystery to us.
Of course it's a mystery. Here's the thing. Here's what we need to understand. Some of the stuff is going to be a mystery to us because some of the truth has been smeared and wiped away. They don't want certain people and certain races to know the truth about what went on in the past because it's going to be a revolt. It's going to be a rise in certain nations that people don't want. I'm just saying.
Almost total mystery surrounds the existence of this
That's an alien
tablet, which was discovered on a coastline in the United States of America. Fans of Lovecraft probably think it looks very familiar, though. The creature that's been etched onto the front of it looks almost exactly like Cthulhu, who made his first appearance in Lovecraft's story, The Call of Cthulhu, in 1928. Since then, Lovecraft enthusiasts have created their own Cthulhu mythology, which some people treat as if it were a religion. So it's entirely possible that a Cthulhu devotee made this tablet and deposited it on the coastline for someone else to find. It might not be that straightforward, though. We don't know the age of the tablet. We can't rule out the possibility that Lovecraft was inspired to create his famous creature after seeing the design somewhere else. Perhaps he also once found a tablet that looked just like this. And there's a lost civilization of space alien
I know what happened.
Missing from our history books.
I know what happened.
And what do you think?
He went to an Asian restaurant, had some octopus,
scientists know for sure
made that.
About the giants of Mont Prama is that they exist.
Okay.
Beyond that, everything else is speculation and guesswork.
Is that a shield?
The most popular theory that currently prevails regarding the origin of the 8-foot-tall sculptures is that they're a product of the Nuragic civilization who lived on Sardinia between 1800 to 240 BCE when they lost their land to the ever-expanding Roman Empire. They left very little behind themselves in the form of written records, and unusually, there are few mentions made of them in the writings of any other civilization or culture. What they did leave behind, though, is their stonework, and the giant statues may be examples of it at its best. It wasn't until 1974 that the sculptures were found close to Cabras in the island's west, and they immediately puzzled the team that found them because of the large disc shapes that represent their eyes. Because ancient tombs were found close to their position, it might be that they're intended to be guardians of the dead. But yet again, that's just a guess.
Guardians of the Dead? Yo.
It's not just the ancient Nuragic civilization.
Is that Gordon Ramsay?
Puzzling statues behind to confuse us. We have even more questions about these statues from Jordan, which are more than 8,000 years old and were discovered at the Neolithic settlement of Ain Ghazal in 1983.
Paul Ghazal?
The figures were close to 2 of the oldest temples ever to be found anywhere on the planet. The oddly designed sculptures are humanoid. They were made without arms and don't have any distinguishing features that would identify their
this kind of scary.
Perhaps the most haunting thing about them is their eyes, which are lifelike and thickly lined. Between the eyes and the strangely small ears.
Yo, this is on some Courage the Cowardly Dog type stuff, bro. What is this? What am I watching? This is on some Squidbillies. Yo, that looks crazy. What is that?
It's challenging to identify which race of people they're supposed to represent, if any at all.
It's supposed to represent aliens.
Sculptures are only 2 feet tall, whereas others are 6 feet tall or even larger.
Dang.
Unfortunately for us, the civilization who made the statues is no longer around to be asked about their purpose. We don't know which Neolithic artist to thank for the creation of these curiosities, and nor do we know who they're supposed to represent. If you talk about geoglyphs in Peru, most people will assume that you're referring to the world-famous Nazca lines. Far fewer people are aware that a mere 25 miles away, there are more ancient etchings in the earth.
Yo, that's crazy.
Is
that real?
Even more impressive and puzzling. The geoglyphs can be found on a plateau known as Pulpapampa and cover a wide area. Despite their clear visibility, Western eyes
big is
weren't
that?
first laid on them until Swiss researcher Erich von Daniken located them during the 1990s. At the top of the plateau, you'll find just over a dozen detailed anthropomorphic designs, including what appear to be human figures wearing feathered crowns and battle helmets.
Yo, that's
Far more impressive
crazy.
than the pictures of humans and animals, though, is the star figure, which is known as Estrella.
Where's the
and
star?
its companion sundial design. At the center of the sundial is a double helix, which may once have been the foundation of a labyrinth, right next to a crisscrossing pattern of bands and lines.
What am I looking
that
at?
have been used to tell the time based on the position of the sun.
Aliens. They gotta be aliens. Simple as
If you're
that.
brave enough to travel right into the heart of the Sahara, you'll eventually come across
Nope.
the Tener Desert. It's a barren and inhospitable place with a name that translates into English as the place that contains nothing. The name is a little dishonest, though. It's not empty. It contains the largest animal petroglyphs ever discovered anywhere in the world.
Oh,
And they go by the
man.
name of the Davos giraffes. The larger of the pair is 18 feet tall.
Oh.
The giraffes aren't even alone in the desert. They're accompanied by more than 800 more carvings of many different types of animals, including lions, camels,
Why is that
buffalo,
out
and
there?
ostriches. The biggest question that experts have about the giraffe carvings
Oh.
is the straight line that appears to lead down from the mouth of the giraffes to the humanoid figures below them. Could they represent leads? If they do, is this evidence that early humans once domesticated giraffes in the same way they later did with horses? On many websites around the internet,
That's
you'll
deep.
find people who claim that there was once a species of giant humans living on our planet alongside regular-sized humans.
Bro, listen, man. There might be some truth to that. I'm just saying.
There's very little evidence to support their claim, but the existence of old battle weapons like these enormous Minoan axes helps to add a little credence to their claims.
Telling you,
You can tell
David
just
and
by looking at
Goliath.
them that there's no way a normal-sized human would ever be able to pick them up or use them in battle. So what else could they have been made for? All of the axes that have so far been recovered from the Minoan Megaron area of Niru date back between
That's
1700
crazy.
and 1300 BCE, and some of them have been heavily and ornately decorated. That makes it possible that they were used for ceremonial or worshipful
Hey,
purposes.
it too.
But picking them up for a ceremony would still have been extremely difficult.
Exactly.
We don't know of any culture who ever worshipped axes. Their existence is a riddle, but that still doesn't mean that they were made for giant warriors.
They was made for
It's likely
something.
that we'll never know all there is to know about the Great Pyramid of Giza and the structures that stand around it, especially when new mysteries come to light all the time.
Man,
In 2008,
how was it made?
24 solid Aswan granite boxes were found inside a series of hillside caves just south of the pyramid, each one weighing more than 100 tons. There's something a little foreboding about the casket-shaped boxes.
crazy.
Perhaps it's the fact that they're a morbid shade of black. Or maybe it's the fact that we have no idea how the ancient Egyptians could have created such geometrically precise shapes.
See, that's what we need to be talking about. That's what need to be taught in school. How was these Egyptians and all these people making smooth, geometrical shaped pyramids? What tools did they have? How was they lifting these heavy things? We need to know.
Perfect to a degree of a small number of microns. The hieroglyphs on their sides offer no clues as to their purpose and may even have been added years after the boxes were created,
Man.
as an early form of graffiti. The site is now known as the Serapeum of Saqqara and is thought to date back approximately 3,300 years to the time of Ramses II. The boxes are so well made that they're still airtight even after all these years. But it's thought that they might contain the mummified remains of Apis bulls, which were worshipped by ancient Egyptians as earthbound representations of the god Ptah.
God, this video is deep,
Although
man.
it looks to some people like a sculpture of a hedgehog playing a mouth organ, this is the monolith of Tlaloc, a depiction
Tlaloc?
of the Aztec god of rain.
That's like a
that
Mortal
took off
Kombat
in
character.
City, and its history is almost as stormy as the god it represents. Even now, in these less superstitious times, people believe this statue has supernatural abilities. When it first arrived in Mexico City, it was followed by an enormous rainstorm that arrived out of season, and yet soaked the city for an entire week.
Oh, man.
That was some time after its discovery during the late 19th century near Cuautitlán. It was likely built to encourage rain to fall on a field of maize, although for some mysterious
That was
reason,
Interstellar, I think.
it was never completed. Perhaps that's for the best. Tributes to Tlaloc were often the site for the most gruesome of all human sacrifices, because it was believed that Tlaloc specifically required the blood of children to generate rain.
Blood of
The
children?
storm that followed its arrival in Mexico City in 1963 was unmatched during the dry season by any recorded storm before it, or any storm that's happened since.
Yo, there's supernatural forces
The
that
things we've
exist
been
in
able
this
to
world.
discern about the Longyao caves in China have been determined by way of testing. As a result, we can tell you that they're approximately 2,200 years old, and they were therefore built before the beginning of the Qing dynasty. Beyond that, everything is a mystery. There's plenty of writing, or what appears to be writing anyway, on the walls of the caves, but nobody has ever been able to translate it. It doesn't match any known language from this region, this period, or any other place or period in history. The carvings are precise and show evidence of chisel work, and yet if we accept that the caves were made with chisels, then we must also accept that well over 1,000 people must have been involved in digging them out for several decades.
Several
How
decades.
was such a large-scale project possible without leaving a single historical record or identifying mark behind?
See, this is why they should have been, somebody should have been like chiseling their initials, assuming that they had a name or they claimed a name, because people just can't be doing this immaculate artwork that dates back 18,000, 2,000, 2 million years ago, and us not knowing it because they didn't leave a record behind. That's crazy.
Unless someone finally gets a handle on what the inscriptions might say, it's likely that we are never going to find out.
But wait!
Yo, that video was fire, man. We're just gonna go ahead and wrap it up, man. We already been recording for about close to 17 minutes. And what y'all think about the video? Did y'all like that video? Is there any other things y'all want me to check out in the process of seeing things like this? Leave some in the comment. It's your boy Jamal _Haki. Peace out.
I'm at the top of my game. It's only Christ to blame. We know the reason you came. Diamonds and dollars and chains. How about you? Sit back. I got this. Relax. Who said I changed up? Yeah, cause I said I'ma need racks.